my name is Lexi and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be doing the last book haul of 2019. And welcome back. It is so nice to see you here. I have made myself a very large cup of coffee and we are going to get through this massive pile of books. Of course, I had to go hard, the very last book haul of the year. I highly recommend that you pause this video, that you go get yourself something cozy like a cup of tea or coffee or a snack, because we're gonna be here for a while. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with adult books. So first of all, I have 3 copies of the same book, and it's because I'm indecisive and I wanted every single copy. I could not choose one, and that is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. So let me tell you a little bit about the book first, and then I will show you all of the different copies. So The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern is her latest book. Now, you might recognize her name. She was the same person who wrote The Night Circus, which is one of my all-time favorite books. It's very lush and magical and descriptive, and this has the exact same feel. So this is about a guy named Zachary, and when Zach was young, he actually walked past a drawn door on his way, I think, home, and he went over and he got the sense that if he tried to push on the door that was drawn, he was going to end up in another world, kind of like Narnia or Neverland or Wonderland, something like that. But he decided instead to just keep walking and ignored it. Years and years later, when he is studying to be a master's graduate student at a university, he actually finds a book and he opens it and he reads about the time when he was 8 years old and he walked past this door. Except in the story, he actually goes into another world. And that's kind of the beginning of this wonderful tale. It's all about secret societies and magic and other worlds. It's absolutely wonderful so far. I think I'm around page 70 and I absolutely love it. It's atmospheric and lush, and I already know it's going to be one of my very favorite books of the year, so I'm very excited that I decided to buy so many copies of this. That's this one though. So this is the first copy I got. This is the American edition, and I love this one because I love the black with the keys. I thought that this was really cool. I also really love the end papers, but also I feel like the naked is gorgeous. Look at that with like the gold and the black and everything. I don't know, I really like the American edition. People are saying that they don't like it, and I absolutely love the American edition. I just also happen to love the UK editions, and let me show you both of those. So the first one that I got was the standard UK edition, and as you can tell, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's actually made to look like an old library book, which I thought was really clever, since that was the book that Zachary picked up and then found himself in, so I really loved that. But yeah, we've got author of the Night Circus here. We've got somebody running away. We've got the honeybee, which is the symbol of one of the secret societies. And then we've got this really beautiful back page as well. I love the spine of this with the sword. And then this is kind of like the side it's printed on, which I love. The inside is actually Zachary going off into another world in the library, which I thought was wonderful. And then we've just got a plain hardback. And then the last edition I got is the Waterstones exclusive edition, and that is just the plain bumblebee with the blue. I thought this was really simple, but also really striking, so I had to get it. The spine is very similar, but it does not have any red on it like the other one. The back, I think, is the exact same. We've got a printing on the pages. Inside, I love these end papers. I think they're so beautiful. And then apparently everybody is getting a different color of the hardback, but I got red on mine, which is wonderful. So those are those. Next up, I got another 2 editions of the same book, and it's by the same author. So I decided to get the UK paperback edition of The Night Circus, which I thought was just really cute and I wanted for my collection. And it seems really nice, you know? And then I got, I think this is an exclusive edition. I wanna say it's Waterstones as well. And it's this one. So it's this guy all grown up, but he's blue now. And I just thought it was really beautiful. It had blue end papers. And yeah, I love The Night Circus. This is one of my very favorite books. If you are unfamiliar of what The Night Circus is about, it's about 2 competing magicians, basically, that they can do real magic themselves. and they are in this competition with each other. There can only be one magician who is left standing, who is like the ultimate best magician, but they fall in love. So it's a little bit of like a forbidden romance. It takes less of a focus on characters and more of a focus on setting. It's very atmospheric and lush and descriptive. So if you are interested in any of those things, I highly recommend this book. It's very magical, but it's not necessarily character driven. So if that's what you're looking for, I mean, I've heard some people not like this, but I love it, so I highly recommend it. The next book that I received is actually a Christmas present from one of my bestest friends in the entire world, Kaylin. I will go ahead and link her channel below. I love you so much, Kaylin. Thank you so much for this. And that is the UK edition of Spinning Silver, and this is by Naomi Novic. This is one of my favorite wintry reads. I actually read this last year for a live show that I did with Rachel Marie, and I happened to really, really like the book so much, but it's one of those books where the longer I've sat with the book, the more I've really loved it, if that makes any sense. It has so much magic and like whimsy in it, and it's so atmospheric. It was really, really wonderful, and I have been wanting this version for such a long time. I don't know how Kaylin knew. She's just like a very intuitive gift giver. I think she's really, really good at it, and it's just, I think this is one of my favorite books that I own now. One, because it was a gift from one of my favorite people, but also two, because it's just such a beautiful addition. So if you are unfamiliar with Spinning Silver, this is kind of a loose retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. This follows two main perspectives, Miriam and Irina, and they both have these very magical tales to tell. Miriam decides to start turning silver into gold. Basically, she's just a very savvy businesswoman, and she attracts the attention of a fairy king of winter. And Irina is wed to the Tsar, and the Tsar is hiding a couple of different secrets that could have some detrimental consequences. So I really, really enjoyed this book a lot, and I highly recommend it, but also I just love this edition. The next book I bought, I actually found at a used bookstore, which is very exciting to me, and that is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, and this is by Susanna Clark. I have the paperback edition of this, but I've been wanting this like black gray edition for quite a while, and he is chunky, and I am so excited. I'm very excited to read this book. This basically follows two magicians slash wizards, kind of, and they belong to a secret society that practices magic, and it's kind of their interaction with a world war, but it's supposed to be really, really well done. It's adult historical fiction, and I've heard wonderful things about it, so I'm very excited to now own this beautiful edition. The next book I bought was a recommendation from one of my favorite people in the entire world, Kat, and that is This Is How You Lose the Time War, and I am forever salty because I got my makeup on this book. But that's okay. This is a novella, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a lot about this. I just really trust Kat's opinion because she has recommended some books that I think are just complete wonderful pieces of literature. But basically what I know is that this is about two competing companies, and they are both trying to stake claims, I guess, and win this territory war. And I'm pretty sure it's throughout time, but it also might be throughout different worlds. I don't know. I do know that it is an enemies to lovers, that it is a female-female, that it is futuristic, and that apparently it's just really well done. So, all good things. Very excited to pick this up. And this, of course, is by Amal El-Motar and Max Gladstone. Next up, I picked up a horror novel. Shocking, I know. I scare so easily. Will I be able to read this? Probably not, but it sounded really great, so I picked it up anyways. And it is a Cosmology of Monsters, and this is by Shaun Hamill. And I was very intrigued by the cover, which I think is just so striking. I don't know, there's something about this that really called to me. But this is about a family, and they all see monsters. And I think seeing monsters has driven one of them crazy. One of them is propelled forward to ignore them. And then there is the main protagonist, Noah, and Noah decides instead to embrace the monsters and talk to the monsters. So it's supposed to be really chilling. I think there's a lot of really dark elements in here. If you're interested in monsters or horror and you're looking for a really good adult book, maybe pick this up. Boop, boop. Next up, we've got The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I own this book. It is one of my favorite books of all time. However, I did not own the illustrated edition, so I decided to pick this up. And the illustrations are so beautiful. They're all done in black and white. They have this very sketchy element to them. They feel whimsical, but they feel also very serious, very stark. They really set the tone for the entire book. It feels very abstract, which I love because the story itself feels very abstract, and I'm very excited to read this particular edition of the story. So for those of you who have not read The Ocean at the End of the Lane, it is a novella and it is one of my favorite books of all time. It's about a man who decides to go back to his hometown for a funeral. I believe one of his parents has passed away, although we don't know who. And he goes to visit his old friend, Lottie. Lottie isn't there, but he decides to sit by the pond that they used to sit by when they were younger. And when they were younger, they used to pretend that it was an ocean at the end of the world. And as he's sitting there, he kind of remembers this one summer that really changed a lot of things for him and really made him grow up. And it's this really intricate and beautiful tale of boyhood meets growing up. There's lots of adult themes in here, a lot of grief in here, a lot of sadness and heartache in here, but it's also a beautiful culmination of magical realism and sci-fi and fantasy, and it's just so incredibly unique and well done, very genre bending. Highly recommend it. I absolutely love it, and I love this edition. Next book I bought was The Immortalists by Chloe Benjamin. Now, the funny thing is I actually have the ARC of this. I received the ARC when I was a bookseller because this came out a while ago, but it came out while I was a bookseller, and I never read the ARC, although it's beautiful and I still have it. But I decided to buy the hard copy when I saw Zoe from Zoe Reads talk about this and say that it was one of her favorite books. And I really trust Zoe. I feel like she has really impeccable taste in literature. I'm gonna link down her channel down below. I highly recommend that you check her out. Actually, I love her channel so much and she's one of my friends, so please go do that. But yeah, I really wanted to check this book out. This follows 4 different siblings, and when they are younger, I think they go to a fortune teller, and the fortune teller tells all of them when they're going to die. And so I think it kind of combines that eerie beginning with following how their lives play out. And so it's a bit of a family dynamic story, but I'm sure it also has some dark elements to it, obviously, since we know when they're gonna die. I don't know a ton about it, but if Zoe likes it, then I will buy it. Next up is one of the most beautiful books I think I own now, and it is called The Binding. And this is by Bridget Collins, and I am very excited because look at this book. So this is one of the most beautiful books I've ever seen in my entire life. Maybe that would have been enough for me to buy it on its own, but then I heard the synopsis and I was like, wow, I really do need to buy that. Okay. So this takes place in a world where book binding is considered kind of sacred and books themselves are considered very sacred, and they're different than the books that we read now. The books in this world are basically memories that you don't want to have anymore. So when you don't want something in your head, you get it bound into a book. And one day the person who is binding books discovers that he has a book. So he has a repressed memory that he wanted to get out of his head as well. And I think the story kind of takes off from there and it follows that. But it sounds really beautiful. It kind of sounds a little bit like a combination of The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and some magical book concept. And so I was just completely sold. I don't know a ton about this. I do think it's LGBTQ+. I think it's a male, I believe, but I don't actually know about the last one. That's just what I heard from somebody's blog post, I think, and I don't remember who. And then the last book was actually sent to me by a book subscription box company, which I will link down below. I will also go ahead and insert the name here if you want to check them out. But yeah, they were so sweet. They actually emailed me and asked me if I enjoy Japanese literature, to which I said yes, and they decided to go ahead and send this. But also it was so sweet because they sent this really sweet little bookmark, and the person did a handwritten note, which I thought was so incredibly sweet, and she kind of explains like all about the book and everything. So I just thought it was really a great touch, and I'm excited about it. So this is the book here, and it's called Strange Weather in Tokyo, and this is what it looks like. I will go ahead and read what the back of the book says. It says, one night when she is drinking alone in a local bar, Tsukiko finds herself sitting next to her former high school teacher. Over the coming months, they share food and drink sake, and as the seasons pass from spring cherry blossom to autumnal mushrooms, Tsukiko and her teacher come to develop a hesitant intimacy which tilts awkwardly and poignantly towards love. And that sounds really, really beautiful. I am very intrigued and I love the cover of this. So thank you so much for sending this to me. That was so incredibly kind. And yeah, if you guys want to go ahead and check out the book subscription, it will all be linked down below. Okay, I think that is everything for adults. So let's go ahead and move on to young adult. I guess we'll go in reverse order. So the first book that I've gotten for young adult is Winterwood, and this is by Shea Earnshaw. I love Shea Earnshaw. I loved The Wicked Deep. I thought that was such a great story, very, very atmospheric. She is a very lush and wonderful writer, so I had to pick this up. This is about a girl who tries to learn more about the Walker women, which are witches who live in her town and used to, I guess, ascend from the woods. So our main protagonist goes into the woods to kind of see if she can learn more about these witches. And while she is there, she discovers a boy who apparently has run away from camp and has a lot of secrets that he's trying to hide, and it's just about their tale together. It sounds really, really wonderful, but also I don't care what Shea Earnshaw is writing about. I'm gonna buy it because I really like her as an author. Next up, I have one of my most highly anticipated books of the year, and that is Queen of Nothing, and this is by Holly Black. This is the third book in her Folk of the Air trilogy. The series itself is all about a girl named Jude who is a human, but she is raised in captivity in the world of the Fae, and she decides that she wants to kind of stake her claim in this fairy realm and get power for herself. The whole thing has tons of political intrigue, a very hot enemies to lovers romance, and it obviously is very magical because they are in the world of fairy and fae. So I highly recommend the series in general. I think it's just really excellent and I can't wait to finish this book. Next, I finally picked up The Book Thief, and this is by Marcus Zuzak, and as you can see, it's a signed copy, which I was really excited about when I saw in Barnes and Noble. I have read this book. I actually borrowed one of my friend's copies in college and I cried my eyes out to it. I thought it was really beautiful, and I've meant to buy my own copy for years, but I just hadn't ever done it. And so when I saw that they had signed copies in at Barnes & Noble, I just immediately went for it. I love this copy itself. I love the white. I think it's so beautiful. If you don't know what this is about, it's very sad. It actually follows a girl named Liesel who is escaping from World War II, and she goes to live with a foster family, and the foster family ends up hiding a Jewish man, and it's kind of all about their interaction and their relationship, and it's incredibly sad. It's a very beautiful and heart-achingly sweet, wonderful, wonderful story that I highly recommend. I really love the narration style. I love the writing of this. It's, in my opinion, impeccable. Made me cry multiple times, really wonderful. Next up, I have Frankly in Love, and this is by David Yoon. So I picked this up actually at my local used bookstore, and I thought that it looked in like impeccable condition. It looked really, really good, and I started to flip through it, and it just seemed so entertaining and so well written that I had to pick it up. So I don't know a ton about this. It's about a guy named Frank Lee, and his family wants him to date a traditional Korean nice girl so that they are like of the same background and everything, but he is actually in love with an American girl. And so he finds one of his friends who is Korean, and they decide to fake date, and they are both actually dating other people of other nationalities. But fake dating and people are involved, so obviously some feelings are gonna get hurt and things are gonna happen. I can't wait to see where this story goes. I've heard excellent things about this and I can't wait to read it. Next up, I have Crier's War, and this is by Nina Varela, and I am very excited to pick this up. I don't know a lot about this one, you guys. I know that it is a female enemies to lovers, and I'm very excited. This all takes place in a fantasy world where there are humans and then there are not humans. I think they're like androids, although I'm not totally sure, so I'm really sorry if I'm getting that wrong. But essentially there is a princess called Crier, and she is made to be flawless and beautiful, and she is betrothed to someone I think who is harboring a lot of secrets. And it also follows Ayla, who is the human servant of Crier, and Ayla is human, and so she hates Crier, and I don't think Crier knows that Ayla hates her, but it's about their relationship and about their dynamic and what happens in this fictional world, and it sounds really intriguing. I don't know. Next up, I picked up Dig, and this is by A.S. King. And I bought this actually, I think back in October. I decided to buy this because, as you may or may not know, I love magical realism and I also love surrealism. And this is one of Kayla's favorite books from over with Books and Lala. And also I saw that one of my favorite people on YouTube, Chandler Ainsley, had reviewed and read this for a taste test, which I will go ahead and link down below. And she loved this book, and I love Chandler and I love Chan's taste. So I decided, okay, two of my favorite creators like it, and it's a subject genre thing that I'm really interested in because it's surrealism. I have to buy it. I basically don't know anything about Dig other than they both liked it and that it has surrealism in it. There are 5 teenagers lost in the Hemmings family maze of tangled secrets, only a generation removed from being Pennsylvania potato farmers. Gottfried and Marla Hemmings managed to trade digging spuds for developing subdivisions, now sitting atop $1 million bank account. Wealth they've declined to pass on to their adult children and to their teenage grandchildren. Because we want them to thrive, Marla always said. What does thriving look like? Like carrying a snow shovel everywhere, like selling weed at Arby's drive-thru window, like first-class tickets to Jamaica between cancer treatments, like a flea circus in a trailer park. So I think it's just kind of exploring the family dynamics, and I'm very intrigued by that. It sounds really interesting. And yeah, I'm excited to see what A.S. King has in store for me. I could be mistaken, but I believe that this is the last YA book, and that is The 10th Girl, and this is by Sarah Faring. And again, this is supposed to be kind of a spooky, scary book. You can totally tell by the title. How cool is that? So this is all about a girl named Maevie, and Maevie decides to go to this place, and it's for Argentina's elite. And when she is there, she thinks that all of the students and teachers might possibly be possessed. And there are all of these rumors of these people called the Others. It's supposed to be very scary. It's supposed to be like a haunted psychological thriller. All things that I think sound wonderful. So I can't wait to pick this up. Okay, that is it for YA. Now buckle up because I have a lot of middle grades. So let's go ahead and start with this. This is Witches, and this is by Rosalind Shanzer. I read this book actually for my grad school class. We had to do an analytical paper on a middle grade nonfiction, and I chose this one just because I've always been interested in the Salem witch trials. You can tell from all the markups. I took lots of notes on this one, and this is a really interesting one. So obviously it's just nonfiction about the Salem witch trials. I thought that this was done really well, because actually the title is Witches, the Absolutely True Tale of Disaster in Salem. And what Rosalind does is she actually almost makes it feel like a Grimm's fairy tale retelling. She's got these very beautiful illustrations throughout. There's actually no pictures, no maps or anything. It feels a lot more just like a very dark fairy tale. I really appreciate some of the pops of red that she uses with her black and white illustrations. It was a scary read, but it was enthralling. It was entertaining and very interesting. So if you're interested in a nonfiction and you want to learn more about the Salem witch trials, I would recommend this. I don't know if I would recommend this to like middle grade readers though. I feel like this is a more mature read. I feel like 13 and up. Not because I don't think that like a 9-year-old wouldn't enjoy this, but because personally, I don't know if I feel like it's appropriate. They talk a lot about like torture devices and like, not a lot, I guess, but we mention how people died, and a lot of it is really gruesome and graphic. And I just personally I wouldn't feel comfortable with like a 9-year-old reading it, but I think 13 and up would really enjoy it. So that's that one. Next up, I picked up Fortunately the Milk by Neil Gaiman. And isn't this the cutest cover in the entire world? Oh my gosh. So this is a quirky and cute, fun middle grade. I'm slowly working my way through all of Neil Gaiman's works, and I really wanted to pick this up. This is about a father who goes out and gets milk for his kids, and he's gone a really long time. And when he comes back, he has this very long reason as to why he was gone so long, and apparently it was this epic tale adventure that he kind of got himself lost on while getting milk for his kids. And this is a really great version because it's got lots of really fun, quirky illustrations. Illustrated by Scotty Young, who illustrated the I Hate Fairyland series. So if you're familiar with that style, he's just a really great illustrator in general. So I'm very excited to pick this up, and it's very short too. So I have a feeling I will get through it pretty quick. Next up, I have a gift from one of my bestest friends in the whole entire world, Ali Corvair. I will go ahead and link down her channel below. She is the biggest sweetheart in the entire world and an actual fairy princess. And I was so excited when she sent me this beautiful package. It was filled with all of my favorite candies and so many really, really wonderful and thoughtful gifts and goodies. And I just love you so much, Ali. And she gifted me this, which is one of my most anticipated books of the year. And I still haven't read it, so I'm so excited to get to it. And that is the Tea Dragon Festival. And this is by Katie O'Neill, illustrated by Katie O'Neill as well. And look at this. So beautiful. Oh my gosh. So this is a graphic novel and it's completely stunning. Let me show you some of the pictures. How pretty is that? This is the second book in the Tea Dragon Society kind of like series, although I don't know if we're following the same characters. I'm not totally sure. But this book basically is all about the Tea Dragon Festival, and I think one of the main protagonists actually meets a real dragon on her way to the Tea Dragon Festival. If you're unfamiliar with this series, I'll tell you a little bit about what the first book is about. The first book is about a girl, and I don't remember her name, who discovers a tea dragon, and tea dragons are these little miniature dragons that grow tea leaves on their backs, and she learns all about the Tea Dragon Society, and it's just wholesome, beautiful, wonderful content that will make you feel so cozy and so happy, and just, it puts me in the best mood ever. I love this series so much, so I'm really, really excited to get to this one. Thank you, Ali! Next up, I picked up Furthermore, and this is by Tahada Mafi, and I'm very, very excited about this book. I actually own this in paperback, but I really wanted this in hardback, and I think I found this at a used bookstore, so I just went for it. So this is about a girl named Alice, and Alice is convinced that she is the only person who can save and rescue her father, and to do that, she has to go into this magical other world called Furthermore, where left is right. Kind of sounds a little bit like Alice in Wonderland, and her name is Alice as well. So I'm very, very, very excited to read this. I think her companion's name is Oliver, and apparently he has a lot of secrets that he is hiding as well. So I am intrigued, to say the least. Next up, we have A Pinch of Magic, which I have already read and I love with my whole entire heart. This is by Michelle Harrison, and I am telling everyone to read it, so I'm gonna tell you right now, if you are in the mood for a cozy middle grade, pick this book up. I love it. I think that you will love it as well. This is about three sisters, and these three sisters have a family curse that they need to break. They are all gifted with one magical object. One of the objects helps them to turn invisible, another magical object helps them to travel anywhere they want, and the third magical object helps them to see whoever they want to see. And it's very, very whimsical. It opens up on Halloween night. The atmosphere is perfect. It has all of these cozy aesthetic vibes that I just absolutely love, and it's just the most magical, cozy little book ever, and the writing in it is 10 out of 10. The next book that I have here is Shadows of Winterspell. It says, deep within the forest, magic is waiting. And this is by Amy Wilson, and we've got the most beautiful cover, and I'm very, very, very excited, of course, to read this one. This is about a girl named Stella, and Stella starts to go to a local school where she learns that the magical woods hold a bunch of secrets. And so she's kind of on a journey to try to figure out what those secrets are. There's also a family secret that she has to uncover, and I believe the world of the Fae is included as well. So if you are interested in fairy things and fairy tales, you might want to pick this up. The next one I have here is Winter Magic, and this is a anthology of middle grade short stories, and they are all set in wintertime and all involve a little bit of fantasy with middle grade protagonists. And this list was curated by Abby Elphinstone, and I'm very, very excited to read it. But yeah, it just sounds really, really cute and cozy and perfect for this time of year. Give me all of the winter vibes. You know what I'm saying? So I have to pick this up. Next up is a book I picked up at my local used bookstore, so ignore the price tag on there. I haven't taken it off yet. And that is Siren, and this is book 5 in the Septimus Heap series. I am trying right now to complete that series. I want to reread it. I actually read the first book a long time ago and absolutely loved it, but then I never continued on in the series. And I loved it so much that I really would actually like to reread it and then finish the series. So I'm kind of in the process of collecting all of the books for that series right now. But the first book, Magic, actually is about a father who runs into a stranger in the middle of the night. And the stranger has a baby, and the father picks up the baby, and the stranger says, don't tell anyone where you got the baby. Don't tell anybody that you got the baby tonight. And so the father's like, okay, sounds good. Brings home the baby, and they raise the baby like the baby is their own. And it's kind of following that story, following who that baby is, why were they trying to get rid of the baby. Like, it's a very magical, very intricate story. And I remember when I read it that I loved how funny it was. I remember that there was a lot of humor involved in the storytelling, which I think is really rare and wonderful in children's literature. So I recommend the first book. I have to go and reread it at some point, but this is the 5th one in the series. So now I'm closer to completing the series. I think I need the 6th one still. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. The next book that I picked up was The Boy, the Bird, and the Coffin Maker, and this is by Matilda Woods. And what a charming little cover. I just love it so much. It says, when you came to Allura, you just had to tilt your head toward the sky to see magic every day and deep into every night. A few things that I know about this book is that it is magical realism. It's supposed to be very sentimental, very sweet, and very, I think, deep. So I heard all of these things and I immediately added it to my Amazon cart to check out because I had to buy it. I even love the opening. It says, Alberto lives alone in the town of Allura, where fish fly out of the sea and the houses shine like jewels. Next up, we have North Child by Edith Pateau, and this is one of the most beautiful covers, and I'm so excited about this. This is about a protagonist named Rose who makes a pact with a white polar bear, and together they set forth to an enchanted castle where Rose has to learn about her past and what her destiny is. And it sounds really, really charming and cute and just really cozy and perfect for this time of year, so I had to pick it up. Next up, I have the Polar Bear Explorers Club, and this is by Alex Bell. This is about a girl named Stella who joins this Polar Bear Explorers Club, and she has all of these different adventures. So I think she has a run-in with some snow pirates, with some yetis, with some golden geese, with some cabbage who apparently are like cabbage monsters. I don't know, but it sounds really, really wild, and it sounds really unique and very interesting. So perfect. Give me all the adventures. Give me all of the cozy middle grade vibes. Can't wait. Next, I picked up Frost Heart, and look at how pretty this edition is. This is also from Waterstones. I just need to buy all of my books from Waterstones. Anyways, this is by Jamie Littler. And this is about a boy named Ash, and Ash is waiting for his parents to come back and find him. And he is currently in the care of his grumpy Yeti guardian. Love that so much. But then one day Ash discovers that he has these fierce and amazing magical powers, and he is whisked away aboard something called the Frost Heart, which is a sleigh, I guess, with a crew that is off to do magical, adventurous things. And so it's just kind of his tale, and I don't know, it kind of sounds like Frozen a little bit. It just sounds really cool. I'm very, very excited to see what happens. So I'm definitely gonna be picking this one up. Next up, we have The Eye of the North, and this is by Sinead O'Hart, and it looks so fierce, doesn't it? Oh my goodness. So this is about a girl named Emmeline, and Emmeline thinks that she is prepared for anything until her parents go missing. She's very scared for her life, and so she decides to flee on board a ship set for France. But while she is a stowaway, she overhears that the captain of this ship actually wants to go and try to hunt down this mysterious magical creature at sea. And it's kind of her adventure as a stowaway on this ship. So it sounds really wonderful. It's got kind of like a piracy feel, which sounds really, really great, mixed with magical elements. And I don't know, there's something about this that just, it sounds really wonderful. And I'm very excited to pick this up. Okay, we've got 3 left, you guys. We can do it. Okay, the next one I have to show you is the one and only Ivan, and this is by Catherine Applegate. I actually picked this up because there was a girl in my graduate course who recommended this in my children's course materials class, and her name is Brooke. She read this book for one of the fictional analytical papers that we had to write, and she said that it was beautiful in every single way, so I had to pick it up. I really trust everyone in that class. Like, everyone has really, really great opinions, and we're all studying children's literature together, so we're all constantly reading it. But a lot of people in that class actually said that this was really phenomenal. So this is all about a gorilla named Ivan, and Ivan meets a baby elephant named Ruby, and they become friends. And I think that this is a friendship story, but I also think that this is a story all about animals, all about empathy, and I'm very excited to read this. I've heard wonderful things about it. I've heard it's kind of a sad book, but I've heard it's a really beautiful book, so I'm very excited to pick this one up. Next up, I have The Garden of Spells, and this is by A.M. Howell, and wow, that cover is so striking. I love middle grade covers. They're so beautiful, aren't they? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna read the back. It says, October 1916. Clara has been sent to stay with her aunt and uncle while England is at war. But when she reaches their cottage on an enormous country estate, Clara is plunged into a tangle of secrets. A dark locked room, a scheming thief, and a mysterious boy who only appears at night. Okay. Next we have The House with Chicken Legs, and this is by Sophie Anderson. I've heard wonderful things about this one as well. This is about a girl named Marinka, and Marinka lives with her grandma, and her grandmother is Baba Yaga. And as we all know, Baba Yaga is actually from the classic Russian folktale, and Baba Yaga actually helps souls to pass to the other life. But Marinka does not love this because it means that she does not get to experience a normal life. And what she wants more than anything is to stay in one place and make lots of friends and set down roots. But she lives in a house with chicken legs, and the house has other ideas. And so they get up and they move, and I think she has an adventure of her own, and it sounds truly magical. And then finally, we have the last book here. Oh my gosh, this has been a journey, you guys. And it is Cogheart, and it says, A Stunning Adventure of Danger and Daring. And this is by Peter Munzil. And this is another one I'm gonna go ahead and read from the back because it sounds really intriguing the way they have worded it. So it says, some secrets change the world in a heartbeat. Lily's life is in mortal peril. Her father is missing, and now silver-eyed men stalk her through the shadows. What could they want from her? With her friends Robert, the clockmaker's son, and Malkin, the mechanical fox, Lily is plunged into a murky and menacing world. Too soon, Lily realizes that those she holds dear may be the very ones to break her heart. It sounds a little bit like steampunk mixed with fantasy and adventure, and that just sounds so intriguing to me and also so unique. So I'm very, very excited to pick this one up. Well, you guys, that is it. That is it for my very, very, very big book haul. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around. So hopefully you've gotten some good recommendations from this list. What are you currently reading? Do you have any recommendations for me? Please let me know down below in the comments. I'm always very interested to know what you guys are reading. But I think that's it for me, you guys. I'm gonna head on out. I think I need a refresh of my coffee because it is very cold now. It's very cold in my house, actually. So I love you so much. And until next time, book lovers, keep your head in the clouds and your heart in a book. And I will talk to you very soon. Bye.
I won't get close to your heartache. If you won't open your door, I'm feeling kinda lost when your mind is hiding whatever that is choking your chest.